I know this might sound silly, but I feel like I've overloaded myself with so much information on this game and I have a whopping 20 hours on it. I feel like I've learned more advanced stuff such as long combos on Kirby and wild tether chains on Byleth when I barely understand fundies. A PK fire is enough for me to want to just exit the game since that alone feels insane to go against. Where should someone start that has no background in fighting games? A great question from one of my awesome Discord members, you should join by the way, and yes, I think newer players will share this pain point of knowing how to do a lot of cool stuff, but not knowing how to be present in a game. A lot of my clients tend to get caught up in really cool tech and flashy combos that they really just skip fundamentals altogether. And although I personally grew up with Melee, Third Strike, MVC3, and Street Fighter 4, you don't need a background in fighting games to thrive in Smash Ultimate. You do need fundies, and today I'll answer this question to the best of my ability by introducing the 5 factors of fundamentals for Smash. Starting with, Smash isn't just a fighting game, it's a platform fighter, and all the combos and tech in the world stems from having good movement, so if you don't know how to dance, you're gonna struggle with all other facets of this game. Let's start off with some beginner movement drills to help control your character. You're first gonna run, then crouch, then walk, and you're gonna repeat that 10 times. And yes, this drill can be a weird one to start off, but this helps you understand the different layers that ground movement can have. First off, most beginners just run around everywhere, pressing attacks whenever they can, kinda like a wild bull. This drill helps develop a sense of spacing, knowing when you want to stop to do a well-placed attack. The crouching also introduces dash canceling in a simple way. So instead of always doing a dash attack, which is usually punishable, you can do a dash up down tilt, which is much safer and possibly more rewarding in comparison. Lastly, walking is an extremely underrated movement option due to you having access to every option available while moving. If you are in this initial dash animation, you don't have access to everything, which could leave you vulnerable. Walking also builds a sense of proper spacing, as walking feels easier to control on the ground. Now let's get into the other side of movement, which is jumping. Full hopping. By holding the jump button, your character will do a full hop. This is your easily most performed jump that many newer players won't have a hard time with, but something to practice still is to get used to your aerial drift. Practice jumping left to right and see how much distance you make. Practice jumping forwards and drifting back, jumping backwards and drifting forwards. This is all to help you understand your movement better. Short hopping. This one gives people a harder time. Short hopping is done by tapping the jump button. These are best used as a lower to the ground way to pressure opponents with your aerials. Short hops are also essential for most combos anyways, so take your time getting a short hop consistently. There are 2 little shortcuts that you could do to help out. If you press 2 jump buttons at the same time, tap or hold it doesn't matter, you will always get a short hop. Most people would change one of their shield buttons into a jump button for this. I personally don't, but I also play claw grip, which is also not the most popular option. The secret second shortcut is that when you press jump and attack at the same time, you will always get a rising short hop aerial. This is super helpful when starting out, and as you improve in this game, you'll learn to do manual short hop aerials, but that's later down the road. Practice doing short hops in each direction, and with each aerial to help condition these mechanics. Lastly is falling. As you fall, you can press down to drop more quickly. You'll know if you've done it right if you get a purple sparkle right next to your character. Fast falling is great for certain combos as well as quickly evading certain attacks when landing. Practicing fast falling can be as simple as slapping it onto your full hop in short hop practice. So for example, you can practice a full hop nair, then a short hop nair, then a full hop fast fall nair, and then a short hop fast fall nair. This is what a general practice guide for movement should look like, and feel free to screenshot and modify it to your liking. Before we get into the second one, if you could help me out and hit that subscribe button, I really enjoy making fresh content for you all, and it's completely free to help support the channel. Also, consider being a YouTube member where you get these custom badges and cool emojis for only 4 quarters. Now let's talk about... Boiled down, there are 3 main types of moves you can make in Smash: attacking, shielding, and grabbing. And each type has a triangular relationship, kinda similar to rock, paper, scissors. Most newer players never even shield or grab because they just want to mash attacks all day, so knowing how to utilize each 3 properly could honestly be enough to make it into Elite Smash. First off, shielding beats attacks. So you got an enemy pressing many buttons. All you need to do is shield that attack. Once you shield their move, you should do one of the following to quickly punish someone after blocking. You could shield grab by pressing A while holding shield, a short hop aerial, up smashing, or up Bing. If you check out ultimateframedata.com, pick your character and scroll all the way down, you'll see your 3 fastest out of shield options. For Kirby, your fastest options are back air, shield grab, nair, and up smash. For Byleth, your fastest options are nair, up B, shield grab, and up smash. Next up we have grabs beating shields. Now you're playing against someone that sits in shield and waits for you to throw something out just to do their out of shield option. If you see a shield, go for a straight up grab because you cannot block a grab. With this knowledge, if you run towards an opponent and that opponent is anticipating a run up dash attack or a run up down tilt that we talked about, mix it up and do a run up grab to counterplay that anticipation. Lastly, attacks beat grabs. Grabs are normally low range with high end lag if it whiffs. Because of this, if you trade against a grab hitbox with an attack hitbox, the attack hitbox should deal its damage when the grab hitbox gets interrupted, dealing very minimal percent. Most attack moves can also just outrange grabs as well, and if someone is going for a grab, they're most likely not shielding your swings. This is a small side note, but some beginner players learn about counters and think it's spammable. Spoiler alert, it's not. If you're dealing with a counter loving player, you can just grab them or wait like half a second for the counter window to go away and then punish them.
Did you see the way he baited the parry?
Cool. Now let's talk about the most complex thing of fundamentals, which is neutral game is when no one has an advantageous or disadvantageous position, usually when both characters have equal space and they're just staring at each other. Think of this like a chess evaluation board where no one has a more valued state than the other. Unless you blunder something, then you're in a really bad spot. Neutral also entails that you have all your moves at your disposal and your opponent has all of their moves at their disposal. Your job in this state is to figure out a way to get a more valued state. So, how do you get an advantage here? Well, to be honest, neutral can get really complex and super messy if you think about more advanced stuff, and the answer to that can be an hour-long video, so I'll just start you off with the basics of neutral strategy. At lower percents, try getting your combo stars to rack up damage fast. At high percents, try landing your higher knockback moves to KO opponents, or at the very least getting them off stage. You can try to wall out your opponents, so if you have disjointed hitboxes like a sword, a hammer, or some magic stuff, utilize the range to outspace others so you can hit them but they can't hit you. You can also use projectiles with the intention of keeping enemies at bay. One last strat we can go over is to try pressuring enemies into the corner. By using well-placed attacks, you can force opponents to retreat to the edges, which gives you more stage to work with. Therefore, your cornered opponent has less options, which could be the antecedent for your opening. Let's use an example here. For Kirby, who's more of an up-close brawler type character, I would recommend approaching with solid combo starters like short hop fairs and down tilts to get combos, then at higher percents focus on landing high knockback moves such as back air just to get them off stage. For Byleth, due to having great range on your aerials, you can emphasize a poking heavy playstyle in neutral, outspace enemies and make it feel impossible for your opponent to get anything started just because those hitboxes are huge. Byleth also has some nice combo starters from your nair and down throw to help deal damage. Guess the fourth Smash Ultimate Fundie topic. After you win in the neutral, good job, you get to do the fun part, which is winning even more. For the sake of simplicity, we can break down advantage state into two different scenarios, combo game and edge guarding. Let's start off with combo game. Learning your common combos is going to be a make or break determining factor on if you're a strong contender in Smash. And I'm not talking about these super advanced combos, just solid, simple bread and butters from consistent combo starters. There are thousands of different combos in this game, yet my personal recommendation for learning any combo is a 3-step process. Step 1, practice this combo in training mode on both sides. Set a goal to land whatever combo 5 times in a row for consistency's sake. And if you're struggling with a combo already, try to break down that combo into smaller bits and pieces. So for example, if I'm working on a Kazuya combo, I would begin on working on the first half of the combo, then the second half of the combo, and then add those two together. That just makes it a little bit easier to understand and digest the combo as you're practicing it. Step 2 is to practice that specific combo against a level 9 CPU and really force that combo as much as you can. It doesn't matter if you lose to the CPU because our intention here is implementing that combo. Try it against different types of opponents as well, such as different size, different fall speeds, etc. Again, land it 5 times on each side to make it consistent. And lastly, in step 3, you could try it against human opponents. This is most recommended to try this in friendlies just because there's nothing at stake and friendlies should be a place for players to rehearse their combos. You could also just try it online or in bracket, but a more controlled environment is best for mastering new combos. Now let's talk about my favorite thing to do in this game, edge guarding. This is how you get those satisfying spikes that you could clip and share with friends and family. Edgeguarding is simply attacking your opponent as they recover from offstage. When you're edgeguarding, you have to consider your opponent's resources as they make it back. In general, they have their extra jumps, an air dodge, special moves, and maybe some character-specific perk. Once you consider their resources, that's when you can plan out an edge guard to intercept their path back to the stage. Now, considering that your opponent has limited resources to make it back, a solid plan is to use long-lasting hitboxes to cover a lot of airspace. Keeping your opponent off stage long enough can force them to expend everything, meaning that they'll just fall to their doom. But I know you, I know your greed, and I know you want to spike people. Consider this, if you can use moves that are easier to hit opponents to limit their resources, you can then refresh your own resources, then go for a spike. This works primarily due to how double jumps work. If you hit someone after they use their double jump, they lose that resource and only have an air dodge and special moves. Therefore, they have an extremely predictable path back to stage, which simplifies when and where to place a spike hitbox. And here's a secret coaching tip from me, because you stayed this long and I really appreciate you for staying this long. If your opponent is below the ledge plane, they basically don't have their air dodge resource anymore because it won't reach the ledge. Thus, their only way to make it back is their up B, which can help call out people's recovery. And that rhymed, so don't forget that. Fantastic work. Now we just gotta talk about one more thing, which is... Okay, now we're getting hit, and getting hit is not good. However, it's part of the game, and you have to learn what to do when you're in a bad spot, aka disadvantage. Your main goal is to think about how you can bring the state of the game back to neutral, or even to your advantage if there's an opening. Similar to advantage state, and for simplicity, we'll go over two main mechanics, DI and landing. DI, or directional influence, is how you manipulate how you get knocked by holding your control stick in a direction during hit stun. You'll know if a character used DI if you notice these faint blue lines showcasing their newly influenced launch angle. There's two different types of DI that I want you to start off with, which is survival DI and combo DI. Survival DI is how you influence your trajectory in such a way that you survive a potentially lethal hit. You'll want to do this type of DI at higher red percents. If you get hit by something with a horizontal launch, hold the control stick towards the center of the stage. If you get hit by something with a vertical launch, you'll want to hold the stick perpendicular to that launch. And most vertical launches have a slight angle, so you want to hold the stick in that respective direction. Combo DI is a complete opposite. Do this when you're at a lower mid percent. If you're getting comboed, you can influence your knockback by holding away from your opponent so that you get launched further than usual. By doing this, you make it harder for your opponent to continue the combo by creating extra distance. Super simple stuff that doesn't need to be overcomplicated, but if you use the wrong type of DI at the wrong time, that could be a blunder. So make sure you use the right one for the appropriate situation. There's also SDI, or Smash Directional Influence. SDI allows you to shift the physical position of your character during hit lag. This one's main concern if you're getting hit by multi-hit moves, like rapid jabs. By wiggling your control stick in a direction, you can see your character shift in that general direction. If you SDI fast enough, you could mitigate potential damage and avoid a final hit of a move. You'll know if you're SDIing if you see these white crescent shapes appearing from your character. Landing from a juggle can be really tough, especially with certain characters' up airs. Similar to regular recovering, consider all of your resources when trying to land back to stage, and also consider where on stage you want to land. An easy rule of thumb is that if you try to land closer to your opponent, it's high risk because they could hit you, but high reward if you could hit them. If you land farther from your opponent on stage, it's low risk because you're actively avoiding interaction at this time, but it's a nice low reward because you're now one step closer to resetting back to neutral. Get creative with how you want to land as well as where you want to land to make it safely back to stage. Sometimes you might have to drift all the way off stage and opt for a ledge recovery just to return back, and that's perfectly fine. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I hope that helped you understand the fundamentals of Smash Ultimate. Also, check out these awesome art pieces from my Discord community, and if you want to submit your own, feel free to join because everyone is welcome. Shout out to my YouTube members. And hey, if you want to see a tier list where I delete the B button, check out that video right here.